in Canada because...
A boot! Not a boot. Sorry. Hey, welcome back to Trail Trash. Got a little something today. Someone climbed on the trailer and followed me home. It'll be a project down the road. Not 100% sure what I'm going to do with it, but here it is. Tires are shot. Oh, that's probably could be why. I mean, other than the dry rot, but that nail definitely is not doing, or screw definitely not doing it any good. Yeah, so get you a little close-up of the corrosion. So this has sat outside for 2 years. Got broken out there. And considering that, I really got to say, not too shabby. I mean, we got a few rust spots here, but I think we could probably buff those out, get that chrome looking good for the stock, or for the shock tubes. We got some broken blinkers in the back. Looks like somebody had a little accident here, bent that around. But overall, you know, really not bad. I mean, new grips, of course, you know, these controls don't work. Somebody's hacked the crap out of that. We got no front brake. But I mean, it's pretty typical. The caliper's not locked up, it's just the master. Yeah, battery's probably not gonna do any good, but we'll see. That old fuel line's junk. That carb's definitely gonna need some clean in. And who knows what's down in that tank? I haven't even looked yet. It's got some pretty good dents in it though, so I don't know. Depending on what we do with it, that my tank might just go. We got a clutch though, and I know the engine's not locked up. So, yeah, don't know what we're gonna do with it yet. We don't have a title for it, so that'll be the first challenge, and that'll probably dictate what we do. If we can't get a title for it, then we'll probably hack it up.
So somehow this footage got recorded in hyperlapse, and I was going to scrap it all, but I figured it actually was probably a happy accident because most of this stuff I probably would have sped up in post-production anyway. So this is shortly after we got the bike and I got it offloaded in the trailer. Started breaking it down, removing the fuel tank, and just getting rid of some stuff so I can get a look at the wiring. Wiring was a little hacked up on the bike. It was not running, of course. So before I start anything, I wanted to get the carburetor off. That was my main priority, to get that out, get an initial cleaning on it. It was a little tough getting out, but not too bad. Just pulled the carburetor boot back off the airbox and got into it. The starter button was ripped out of it, and somebody tried to hotwire it, I guess. Again, I don't know the entire history of this bike. It was just in the junkyard. So eventually I did get a title for it. So we are going to move forward with doing something with this bike. And so here I hook up the jump pack after I clean the carburetor, put some fuel in it, and I was able to actually get it running and starting on its own power. Engine sounded really good. All the lights worked. Still had no front brake, but yeah, it actually ran really sweet, and it wasn't that hard to do. So here we took the tank off just to do a test drive. I wanted to make sure the tank held fuel, and the petcock was obviously not working. So this is what I'm doing here now. Cleaning up this petcock. It is one of the vacuum operated petcocks, which I've talked about on the channel before. And eventually this does get swapped out for a Yamaha Raptor petcock, which actually works on a lot of the Suzuki tank models, which is a ATV, but it doesn't have the vacuum port. It just it has a reserve on and off. And now we've switched over to me repairing some of the dents in the tank. I got this off Amazon, and you're supposed to use the glue to attach these little feet, and then this pulls it. The glue did not work at all. It was terrible. So what I resorted to doing is using a mild steel Allen head M6 bolt, which fit very nicely into the little puller connector on the pull device there. Now here, right there, you just saw me, I pulled it off, and I actually made a small hole if you look closely at the tank. So the next time I did this, I learned that I want to zip the tacks off, not just pull the bolt off. So I do go in and repair that little hole. It just took a little bit of weld to cover that up. But this is just continuing on. Like, moving this thing around, tacking it onto the deepest parts, cleaning off the paint so I get a good weld, and just pulling out all of the small dents that I possibly can. And it actually worked really, really good. You want to go slow, don't use too much heat because you don't want to warp the metal that's already there, the good straight metal. Now, there's lots of other methods you could use to do this. Some people have, like professionals, use like bent rods that they shove down in through the filler neck. This tank is really an odd shape, and that filler neck goes down into one side of it, and you can't get at the other side very well. Now, you could go in through the petcock hole, but somebody probably better at this could have done that, but I just couldn't. So I found this method actually worked really good. Not only did I do this on this tank, but I actually at the same time I did it on the KZ440 tank, and it worked quite well there as well, except I had a lot more holes in that tank. It had rusted out on the bottom, and I wound up having to weld quite a bit of that tank back together, which I did not have as much success at. The rear mount underneath the tank is where most of the bad rust was, and yeah, it was a nightmare to get that to seal, and I still haven't got it quite 100% sealed, so we're gonna have to revisit that tank. But in any case, this worked great. It just took a very thin coat of body fill to get this looking really good, as you'll see later on in the series. And I'll reveal the tank color that I go with. Here I just shot it with some Tremclad flat black to get it coated before the test ride. But if you pick up one of these things from Amazon, these dent pullers, the glue does not work, the feet are garbage, but it actually worked really good if you use this method. And you just keep cleaning it off, cleaning off the tacks, and going at it. And we were able to get this. I was able to get this really straight doing this method. It was pretty good. And here we're just finishing it up, the last few tacks, and then here I'm just filling up that hole. Took a few little snaps, and again, use low heat, go slow, not to warp what you've already straightened out, and basically cleaned it up, and that's good for the tank. And it's now ready for body fill and then primer.
Give me the 10-second story on that bike out there, Jeff.
All right, well, so when we went to pick up the Goldwing here, the old Savage was laying on the side of the junkyard. So I asked the guy, I said, hey, what are you doing with it? He goes, I don't know, it's been here 2 years, it's been abandoned, what do you want to do with it? And he said, I don't know, I'd sell it. So, yeah, I brought it home. Got her going in a few minutes.
And they can't see it in the shot right now, but what is it?
Oh, it's a 1995 Suzuki LS650 Savage, or the current model number is a Boulevard S40. Basically, it's a big 650 single thumper. The engine is the basic design of the DR650 engine, just a different case, some different side cases and stuff like that to make it look more cruiser-ish. So, I still got to get a title, which may be a iffy thing here in Nova Scotia. It was worth it, at least just for the engine. It got, maybe we'll do something with it. Who knows?